Yo, what's up, guys? It's your host, Darshi. It's gonna be such an amazing AMA tonight. We have MetalCore. We have two guests tonight. We have Sam. Hey, Sam.
Good morning. Excited to be
Morning.
here today.
Yeah. Sam, the CEO, and we have Justin, who's the director of marketing. Welcome,
Hey, good morning,
guys.
good evening, everyone.
So yeah, before I begin, I want to share this clip that everyone's been talking about. This is such an amazing clip. I'm so excited to share it with everyone. So let's watch this first.
Let's do it.
Wow, that was so amazing. That was probably one of the best trailers I've seen for any Web3 game right now. So yeah, would you like to give a quick introduction and the team that's working on Metalcore?
Yeah, Justin, you want to start off?
Sure. The team working on MetalCore is Studio 369. They're a fantastic developer with an amazing pedigree. They've worked on previous Mech Warrior titles way back in the day, to stuff from Midway, stuff from Activision. These guys are gamers, know how to create a fantastic game for fans. And then on the publishing side, we've got a fantastic team. We got Sam, who has a ton of blockchain experience and is teaching me new stuff every single day. And then at the executive producer level, we have a fantastic producer who's got 20 plus years of experience. Our CTO that we just brought on board has 30 plus years of experience and was one of the original team on World of Warcraft, building all the back-end systems for that. Myself, I've got 20 years of experience on the console gaming side, doing everything from Japanese RPGs to Robotech to Armored Core to Tekken, and everything in between. So that's a little bit about us, for sure.
Hey, Darth. First of all, just want to say that thanks for having us. Second, the video that we just showed, that is all from within the game engine. So this is not like CGI stuff. This is actually from all within the Unreal Engine game system. Much of it being actual game footage. And so, we're really excited to get that out to the world. I mean, we have much more footage coming. We'll have people, we'll have opportunities for people to play, etc. And so excited about that. Myself, I'm Sam Kim. I'm the CEO of Infinite, which is the publisher of MetalCore. So we have two basically teams working on the game. As Justin mentioned, Studio 369, highly experienced game dev team. The leadership has 25 plus years of experience. From Activision Midway, a lot of Activision Midway DNA. On the publishing side, it's a mix of a few different functions. Where we have the game development and marketing experience people like Justin and Jonathan we mentioned, and then we have the blockchain team. Myself, which is the side that I come from, where my team and I have the leadership have about 5 years of experience in blockchain development, and so we got a nice mix, of like awesome traditional game developers and publishers along with highly experienced blockchain engineers, marketers, and community managers. So a fantastic blend of the two. So we're excited to be here. By
Yeah,
the way,
thank you.
cool avatar, man.
Thanks. Yeah, so just a follow-up question to all that, like you guys all have so much experience. How long have you guys been, working on this project? How big is this team of yours?
Yeah, so the team now, I mean, the blockchain, Studio 369, the game dev team is about 35, and then the publishing side, I think we're close to hitting 20 to 25 right now. So it's a pretty sizable team. We've been working on it for, I'm going to say about 10 months, but obviously, it wasn't always such a large team. We scaled it over time. Initially, 10, 11 months ago when we started this, it was through the ideation phase and the game, we did the GDD, or the game development document, and evolved over time. Brought on people like Justin more recently, and so pretty sizable team working, our butts off to get this game out.
Nice. So yeah, why did you guys decide to build a Mech Warrior style game for Web3?
Justin, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a respected genre, right? Like, we all grew up playing big giant robot games, whether it was Gundam or Robotech or Macross or Armored Core or Mech Warrior. It's a respected genre. It's a genre that anyone can kind of get in and understand. Big giant robots blowing stuff up. It makes sense. It's familiar to people. People are going to jump in, understand immediately. I need to take my mech and blow stuff up, and it doesn't get any more cooler than that when you're playing a game.
Yeah, I feel like it's something within every young person's like DNA that you love big badass robots, you want to blow things up, and why we would bring it to Web3, because one, we're all fans of this genre, right? Look at Justin's resume. Look at the team resume from our Studio 369 guys. Like a lot of like Mech Warrior, a lot of giant robot type game experience. Because quite frankly, we like playing those games. We like that genre, that IP. That's one, and two, like it's the ability to play that in a Web3 fashion, right? How do we bring in factions? How do we bring in the right incentives with NFTs and tokens? And it was one, a combination of the fact that we love that genre, and number two, that we can get into this on this call, but like it's the other fact that it lends itself quite well to Web3.
Yeah, it's totally chocolate and peanut butter.
Nice. So yeah, for all these younger guys there and women that are listening, if you don't really know about all these games that we've been talking about, I would say the closest thing is Pacific Rim, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think Pacific Rim, in terms of IP, some of the more recent IP that people can seem to relate to is like Titanfall. Right? There's been a lot of people do the comparison to that, which I think is fair.
Yeah. So yeah, you were saying how the visuals of this in-game footage was real. It's so amazing. Can you tell us more about this art?
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little bit about the artist. The lead artist, there are two lead artists. One is Vic Lopez, and the other is Stefan Martinier. Vic is a former Midway guy who, has been like the, chief creative officer for a number of big titles. Stefan Martinier is the other one, and he designs most of our kind of highest end NFTs and a lot of the environments. He is a former chief creative officer at id Software, which is he was the concept artist for Elder Scroll, Fallout 4. He's a contributing artist for Magic the Gathering. Worked on cinematic movies like Star Trek and Star Wars, and so he's got a lot of relevant experience in that genre, right? Kind of the space themed games, and so it's just a an immersive, beautiful game. And yeah, I mean, that's sort of the background of the game.
Yeah. And there's a ton of attention to detail too. I mean, every time I watch that trailer, I find something new. Like whether it's even during that opening crawl when the Studio 369 logo pops up, like if you look down in the valley, there's a little mech you can see kind of just scouting around, and then when the infantry units are stalking through the grass, just pay attention to the stuff going on out in the foreground and out in the distance, and look at just the visual fidelity that is being presented, at even this early stage is incredible.
Yeah, we presented Ryan Wyatt over at Polygon Studios a longer cut of the video, like a 20-minute version, and his comment was, that this is a quality game when you get out of the mech and you're down on the ground and you can see every blade of grass moving and it's just renders beautifully, even at that low level.
Yeah.
And he's right, like that's when you're talking about a game where people are focused to extreme levels of detail when you get out of that mech and into the blades of grass. So yeah, beautiful art, and there's much more to come, and the NFTs look awesome too.
Darth, I think you're on mute.
Oh, sorry, I had my mic on. But yeah, attention to detail is definitely something so amazing that us gamers we want to see. Like going back to one of the first FPS games, Wolfenstein 3D or Doom, and now moving on, like what was that? Wolfenstein came out like in the 1990s, so 30 years. Yeah,
For sure.
So it's
I mean,
definitely.
somebody was asking the other day, what got us into gaming, into like PC gaming, and for me, it was like Doom, and there was another game called Marathon, and that was 31 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I remember picking up the Quake demo CD at a 7-Eleven so that I could play, and obviously playing Doom religiously, late at night after work, and even stuff like Mech Warrior, Mech Commander, and this is in the late 90s. Yeah, I'll just say late 90s. That way I don't really date how old I am.
Yeah, did you guys ever do LAN parties back in the day?
Yeah, I mean, so where I grew up, we tried to do LAN parties, but it'd be essentially like 4 of us. So it wasn't really like the LAN parties that you would see of 20, 30 people. It was like 4 of us. But yeah, we would LAN parties for Doom, Quake, Command and Conquer. Yeah.
Oh, this is just like nostalgia right now. Just bringing back all these game titles. But yeah, so can you tell us more about this gameplay mechanics? Is it PvE or PvP?
PvE, PvP. There'll be PV, EVP, PvPvE. Yeah, there will be a ton of game modes in there. We're still kind of fleshing out the best ones to launch with. That'll be the most fun for the fans and the most rewarding. It's a first person and third person action mech, massively multiplayer game. So you're gonna see a ton of people in there. You're gonna have a lot of fun playing together, learning how to attack certain missions, certain facilities and buildings, and how best to kind of take and control and learn the choke points of different maps so that enemies kind of funnel into you instead of you funneling into becoming cannon fodder for enemies. It's going to take the kind of the best of the first person shooter experiences, and you're going to have these massively huge battles of 50v50, and so everyone's going to kind of have to work together, not only as a barony or as a guild, kind of outside of the map. But once you're in the map, you're going to have to learn to play together and work together as a team to accomplish the goals, accomplish the missions, and get the loot from everyone that you defeat.
Yeah, so like it is PvE and PvP, but for us, like when we say PvE, it's not solely single player, right? You can act even in a PvE mode. You can team up with your mates. You will engage in combat with others moving in the open world, but that's where you'll kind of do a lot of your player progression stuff, right? Complete quests, gather resources in order to upgrade your vehicles or your character, right? Your infantry person, and that's sort of the mode for the PvE. And then the PvP, which is more faction based, right? This is where we have our massive 50v50 battles. That's where a lot of the earnings happen, right? Where you're battling for higher stakes, and and that's the victor of these faction wars will be allocated a lot of the reward token or in-game currency token called Fat token. And so that's kind of they complement each other in that way. The PvE is where you'll upgrade yourself, do player progression, engage in quests and things like that, and ultimately in order to battle in these larger 50v50 faction wars.
Wow. I mean, 50v50. That's going to be an insane battle. I don't even think there's anything like that out in the gaming community right now, right?
No, there really isn't.
There really isn't.
Oh, yeah. I mean, especially with your resume, right? I heard Activision. You guys have so much, just their experience alone. It's like probably the average age for in our community is probably they weren't even born when you started working.
That probably is the case. Like our team has for example, like the executive producer of Mech Warrior 2 is on our team, and that was probably 30 years ago now, I bet.
Yeah, it was almost 30. I think it was like 96, 97.
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, but that's generally the senior team. The senior team of both teams are very, very experienced, but we complement that with younger team with new ideas and kind of new experiences. So we don't want to bring a game from 30 years ago to you guys. We want to make it fresh and modern.
For sure.
Yeah. I mean, you guys are among the first wave of traditional game developers looking to attract the Web2 gaming community. What are you guys doing to increase the pool of players?
Yeah,
this is my question. It is so awesome to be that first line of games, right? And it is so important for me personally, to help educate. And I hate saying Web 2.0. Like it just feels like it's like web games, But I want to bring gamers into this, and a huge part of that is in education. Educating core gamers, console gamers on what a wallet is, what is blockchain gaming, and what is it going to be when they come into this ecosystem. And it's important for us to educate. It's important for us to kind of almost be like their battle buddy. Once they get into the game, like, we're going to show you how to connect a wallet. We're going to show you guys how to do all these cool blockchain games. And then you're going to get the agency finally to be able to take the items that you create and do something with them. You don't have to sell them if you don't want to. You don't have to buy them if you don't want to. But now you have that agency. And I think that's just such a huge paradigm shift in gaming entirely. And so education is a huge component of our marketing plan. We'll be doing a lot of the traditional marketing stuff that a AAA, I hate using that term too, a fantastic, gorgeous looking game will do to bring gamers in, whether it's in the PC gaming space, the console gaming space, or even in this new world of blockchain gaming. The goal is to get those guys in and explain to them, and hopefully this is kind of their gateway into blockchain gaming, and get them curious about blockchain gaming. And once they understand that setting up a wallet is as easy as setting up a PSN or an Xbox Live or a Nintendo eShop account, I think it'll start clicking, and I think they'll start realizing this is what I should have been able to do all along.
Yeah.
So that's my goal.
So, those of us on this call, we're crypto natives, and we almost wear the pains that we go through to be Web3 natives. We wear that almost like with a badge of honor. Like, I've bridged through 3-4 different chains in order to get to the chain that I want to be on. I staked here, I staked there. Like, the complexities of Web3, like we like to wear that as a badge of honor. But when we bring the next like billion players of gamers online into this ecosystem, that's not what they want, right? They don't want the pain of dealing with Web3 in order to wear that as some sort of badge. And so for us, what we're doing is we're creating a system where they can log in with their regular account, email-based account, and really experience the game. Somewhere like 5 hours or 10 hours of actual gameplay footage without us having to actually push them towards Web3 yet, because we want them to love the game first. And once they are, they are bought into the game, we will then push them through the education funnel of like, what does it mean to set up your wallet? So you can imagine, like, let's say after 5 hours of gameplay, you crafted like a low-level vehicle NFT or something like that, or an infantry character. And somebody pings them with a message, says, how would you like to sell this character for $1, right? Even if it's $1, like, that piques your interest now. You love the game, and all of a sudden you got this offer to sell this thing that you created for $1. Like, you're gonna dig in a little bit more, and we'll kind of progress them through that funnel that way in order to bring kind of a larger player base from traditional gaming into Web3. That's sort of our technique.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of badge of honor, you're not a crypto native if you've transferred, ETH or Bitcoin from one chain to a different chain and completely lost it. Too many horror stories, or checking your wallet address. Oh, is it right? Like, going double checking every single letter.
Oh yeah. We've all been there, right?
Yeah. So yeah, like, at the same time, there's so many Web3 gamers who are likely to be your early community members. What is their role, and what are roles for guilds like, YGG SEA in the game?
Yeah, I mean, the Web3 gamers are obviously, everybody on this, call, this AMA, are Web3 gamers, right? Or crypto native. And so what is the role? Like, a lot of you guys are going to be the ones that come in, give us feedback on the game, right? We're going to open up the alpha to the NFT holders shortly, and we'll play with you guys. We'll get you guys into sessions, give us feedback on the game. But ultimately, like, you guys are playing the ecosystem building role. Right? So the YGG Southeast Asia, YGG, the larger, the parent YGG, and all the other guilds that we've partnered with are going to play a role almost like an onboarding service, where you guys are managing your communities, helping them get online, helping them get access to the game, and so instead of converting them. So you can imagine, like, a traditional gamer comes into this ecosystem. In addition to asking them if they want to sell their NFT, we might say, how would you like to check out a guild and learn more about, like, how this whole guild system works in the game? And we can, say, help them select which guilds might be the best one for them to align with. At the same time, the game is very much purposely built for guilds, right? You have these 50v50 faction wars, and it's one guild will be YGG Southeast Asia, another guild might be a competitor guild, or might be YGG itself, right? And you guys might be battling it out in these high stakes battles and so that's where a lot of the earnings are going to happen. So the guild will play a big role in those faction wars.
Yeah,
Nice.
Sam hit on it exactly. You know, you guys are going to be in early. You guys are going to help us make this game fantastic, and your feedback is going to be invaluable. How you play, we'll get those data points, and we'll be able to touch and tweak and turn knobs and dials and make the game even better for when it's ready for everyone. And so it's awesome to have such a fantastic pool of players in to be able to provide that information.
Sweet. I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I hope that my computer or my phone can actually run this game. Right now, I'm on a laptop, so I don't think it'd be. I mean, it'd be fun, but still, I still want I'm still in the midst of building out my desktop, so excited.
Hurry up!
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, miner cards are the video graphics cards are cheaper now, so I might pick up two.
Not only are they cheaper, but they're actually available, right?
And that's the most important part.
Yeah. So going back into being crypto native, there's this one question that I ask everyone. Everyone always wants to ask this. I'm pretty sure you guys already know what I'm gonna be asking. It's your tokens, right? Your tokens. What's the two types of tokens you have? Your governance and your in-game currency. Can you talk about more about these tokens?
So we elected to go with the two token system, and we think of the governance token as kind of the low velocity token, and the in-game currency being kind of the high velocity token. And when I say so the governance tokens, one obviously gives you governance rights over the game and the foundation. A second, it's used in various staking cases. So as a player, you can stake your governance token with, let's say, your guild, right? Within our system, it's called a barony, but for the purpose of this call, we'll call it the guild. You can stake your tokens with your guild in order to increase your ranking within the guild. So your ranking in the guild is determined by one, how many tokens are at stake for how long, and two, your performance in these faction wars, right? And so those two will determine your ranking, which determines what your pro rata share of the rewards are from the game. And so if YGG Southeast Asia takes on YGG and beats them, YGG Southeast Asia doesn't actually capture YGG's land NFT. Instead, what it does is it captures the rewards that YGG was generating from their land, and it now receives that reward and distributes it to its guild members. And so the ranking within the system will determine how much you get paid at, what your pro rata share is. And then there's also many other types of staking of the governance tokens, like in your garage in order to accelerate the cooldown of your mech, etc. So there's a lot of the kind of it sets your ranking in different parts of the game. The in-game currency is typical in-game currency stuff where you're using you use it to upgrade your mech, accelerate cooldown, things like that, spawn more quickly, and then that's the primary rewarding mechanism for the faction wars.
Yeah. So that's very having governance token as a staking token. That's awesome. Speaking of another token, which people don't really talk about that much, is your NFT, right? A lot of people just say NFTs, but they don't realize it's still a token, right?
It is.
So
It's absolutely a token.
yeah. But you guys waited nearly a year to do your first NFT drop. So the question is why?
Yeah, we wanted to do things a little bit differently than traditional, right? We didn't want to do an NFT drop, create a staking contract where you get rewarded some alternative token or some other rewarding mechanism for giving up, providing, basically giving up your liquidity. Instead, we wanted to wait until there's actually true in-game utility of those NFTs. And so for us, that means being able to buy an NFT and get involved in the alpha of the game. And so we have alpha that's going to be available publicly right around the corner. And so once we had that point, that we wanted to do the NFT drop. And so we're doing the NFT drop at the end of this month, and looking forward to getting those NFTs out there, building out the community, and getting them into the alpha.
Yeah, and even in the last 3 months, I think Sam and I met at least once every single week to make changes to how we were doing the NFT drop, what utility was there, and trying to find the best thing that we could offer to get the fans in, to get the guilds in as early as possible. I think I've got like 12 different versions of a deck that whether it was building out leaderboards or gamification to it, some of the things that we'll be doing after the last drop that we haven't announced yet. I mean, just all the way through, and even even over this weekend, we were talking more about the drops to come, what we can do. So, it's not something that we take lightly, and we definitely want to make sure that we're providing as much utility for those that are getting into this NFT drop as humanly possible, and as much as developmentally possible as well.
Yeah, I mean that's super refreshing. Like you guys are saying, you don't want to be like some other game that's always staking without any really utilities. But yeah, that's awesome to hear. That you guys have thought it through. Where a lot, I mean, everyone thinks it through, but it's different with when. I'm sorry for bringing this back up. I'm just saying, like, we all have this experience under our belts, and it's. I mean, that's what people want to hear, right?
I can feel and hear your pain. Look,
Yeah.
We're not saying that the way we're doing it is the right way or the only way. It's the way that we know. It's what we're comfortable with, and so that's the approach that we took. And I think it's easier for us to speak to our community and be honest with them about the game, and by actually giving them in-game utility shortly after the drop.
Yeah, and because that's so super important. We want you guys in. We want you guys playing. We want you guys seeing this beautiful game and being along this journey with us.
Yeah. So can you please, as this NFT is about to drop, when's the date? The price, the whitelist process, and on what chain?
All right.
So,
So
go ahead, Justin.
July 28th is the public sale. Pre-sale for the whitelist will be the 26th. It's infantry. There's 8 classes of infantry. And you guys ready for this? $50. Like, cost of a console game will get you in there. You're going to have, or any type of PC game. And then we've got more to come down the road, more NFTs, different vehicles. And let's see. So I think I hit on it. Pre-sale, the whitelist sale, pricing, what it is, and the classes. So we're super excited.
And it's going to be on Polygon. It'll be priced in Matic. It'll be $50 equivalent of Matic, and we'll set that conversion price a few days before the actual drop. And I'll just say that in order to get on the whitelist, attend AMAs like this, be active. We'll give away whitelist spots regularly. I think we have like 6 or 7 AMAs planned for this week alone. There's also a game within our Discord server that people are playing in order to get whitelisted. And finally, I'll just say there's going to be a lot of surprises, and we'll be releasing some surprises down the road. But for purpose of this call, drop a little alpha. Just think soulbound tokens. We're going to make some use of soulbound tokens. I won't give you guys exact details how or what, but they're coming. I'm excited. I love soulbound tokens. The concept of soulbound tokens, and this is my first use of them, so I'm excited.
Yeah, the soulbound token. I will say it's probably one of the funnest things I've done in 20 years of gaming, in the creation of this, and shepherding it into life.
Wow. I mean, now I'm starting to get a little FOMO on this. I should get myself a whitelist, but obviously I want to do it. I miss the grind. Like that's one of the better things about being on Discord. Like you get to know the community, you get to talk to people, and then you make friends, right? Like it's web. I feel like this is what Web3 is all about. It's just like you meet people, you click with them. There's this entire barrier gets broken down, and yeah, I'm excited for this.
Yeah, it's been an exciting, fun process. Getting to work with someone like Sam, and having that back and forth of, whether it's on the game development side, the NFT side, the last couple of weeks on the soulbound token side. It's exciting. It's so much fun to come to work each and every day and see what we can create together and put together for the fans.
Yeah. So speaking of these NFTs, what are the rights and utilities for this NFT?
So the NFT holders will get access to the alpha version of the game. If you participate if you're whitelisted and you participate in the first infantry drop NFT sale, you'll get automatically whitelisted in the next one. And we're working out some IP rights type stuff for both the NFT in-game NFT tokens and also the soulbound tokens. And so we'll have some more information about the rights and ownership rights of those NFTs pretty soon. But the number one right is you get to jump in and play the game.
Nice. So speaking of alphas, so the spellbound token, what's the roadmap for the game?
So right now I've got my calendar right here next to me, so I can always be as on target as possible. We're still pre-alpha, so it'll be probably sometime for the NFT holders. It'll be early September timeframe, somewhere in there, with a possibility of maybe even as early as August timeframe for certain groups to get into the game. And then from there, it's a standard like 28-day, 4-week sprint where new builds will be coming out, and so it'll possibly be within this open world alpha, like data wipes. And as these new builds come in, your information will be reset, but you'll still have all of your stuff that you've purchased within your wallet. You'll still get access to all the different vehicles, so you can try out other vehicles, and you'll get access to all the different maps and play styles, so that you can try stuff out and see what is going to be fun for you and fun for your guild or your barony. And then it's if you think about like a box product, right? Like a console game or a PC game is like a version 1.0. That'll be sometime, probably most likely early Q1, very early Q1. So we've still got quite a bit of time for people to play as early as humanly possible.
Oh, nice. So early September, and yeah, great. So that was my last question. Let's go to the AMA discussions and see what our community is asking you guys.
All right, let's do it.
Do you have the username? If you could just also copy their username or their handle.
Got it. Let's see. The first question. It's, yeah, I'll copy their username. I believe that's the first question.
Great. So this question is by Tob Tons. He asks, many games today have high entry fees and begin with a small player base. Are there any entry fees or starting conditions for MetalCore NFT? And if so, what are they? Do I need to have an NFT or a certain number of tokens to enjoy and play the game?
So the answer is that the game is designed to be free to play. So we want to open this up and make it available to as many players as possible because our goal is really to bring the first billion players. Well, not all into maybe. We would love it if all 1 billion played metalcore, but I think as an industry, we're trying to collectively bring in a billion, the 2 to 3 billion players that play traditional games into Web3 gaming. And so for us, in order to achieve be a major participant and help in bringing those traditional gamers into Web3, is to make it free to play. Everybody can come in, play, get a feel for the game, and progress through the game, and then really enjoy yourself in metalcore without having to spend a single dollar, right? And only in which point, like, you really feel engaged and you want to accelerate your your progression and such, would you would you want to spend money? And so no, you don't need an NFT to play the game. You would be, when you join the game, you'd be given you'd play as a free to play infantry person, and you can progress through the game without having to spend actual any money.
Yeah. And the cool thing is there isn't going to be that beating over the head the minute you install the game of attach your wallet. Which I think, for Web3, we're used to that. On the Web2 side, they're not as used to that. And so kind of putting that first-time user experience at the forefront of the design philosophy of how we get players in, it's super important that they understand, this is a free-to-play title. You don't have to attach a wallet. You don't have to have an NFT. And hopefully we're, providing a fantastic game that they're spending hours and hours playing, and then they get to the point where they're, able to craft something, and then we can kind of slowly get them in to blockchain gaming, maybe without them even knowing it. And that would be fantastic because, as Sam mentioned, there's a huge player pool in the Web2 gaming side, and we bring those guys over into our game and or others. It's going to raise the profile of all of our titles.
Great. So next question is by Redisha. Does your rental system, is it automatically transferred to scholars immediately on their wallet? I guess this is referring to, their earnings. And is it like Cyball renting system, or is it going to be manual like Axie with SLP?
So we had the benefit of working with major guilds, including YGG and yourselves at YGG SEA, and many other guilds, in order to refine our guild management system. And it's not complete, but it's being worked on right now. And we have regular calls. And so we're trying to reduce the friction and the pain that so many scholars and guild managers have to deal with. And so this will all be automated. There'll be kind of like a master wallet that's owned by the guild, and it'll set permissions and kind of reward splits within the game. And so you won't have to manually handle all of these calculations. So we're look, like so many other things we've learned from the challenges that Axie went through. Like when you're a pioneer, like they are, like you obviously experience a lot of the unanticipated problems and challenges, and not to mention the pioneering of YGG. And so we're learning from that, and we're making things way simpler and better and easier for you guys.
Nice. So yeah, definitely speaking with experience. This is definitely something that I'm pretty sure every scholar wants to hear, right? A way easier way to get their payments or their earnings out. So yeah, the next question is by Ihab Wafa. Can you explain? Let me see. I can see that MetalCore players can own NFT lands to earn commissions from all the rewards earned on that land. Can you explain more about MetalCore NFT Land, and how do I own the land? How about the price of this land? How much do we expect the land to cost, I guess, is what
Yeah. So whether you're a guild, a professional guild like YGG and YGG SEA, or it's just you and your buddies that form a guild and you own a piece of land, it's the same thing, right? It's just that YGG might choose to buy the more expensive land in the middle of the map where there's more activity in order to generate more rewards. But whereas myself and my buddies, we may want to be on the outskirts a little bit so that we're sitting on lower value land where we may not be attacked as often. But the way the land system works is that if you own land, you're incentivized to develop on that land, build garages, spawn points, whatever your fort, whatever it is, or fabrication machine buildings, anything that's going to attract people to come and use your land. Because anytime people spend in-game currency on your land, you and your guild mates benefit from it. So if 100 tokens are used to cool down a mech, that gets split between myself and my guild mates based on like my guild mates rankings. At the same time, I mentioned like if my buddies and I take on YGG SEA and we beat you guys, all the earnings that YGG SEA was making, which is probably like 1 million tokens a day, that will now come to myself and my guild mates. And so that's the incentive model, that's the rewarding model. And so, like I said, anything that happens on the land that gets split between yourself and your guild members, your guild mates, based on the rankings of the players within the guild. There are two ways to increase your ranking in the guild. One is to perform better in faction wars, and then two, the other is to stake governance tokens and keep them staked for a long time. Oh, in terms of the price of the land, that hasn't been set. It'll be at the end of the year probably. According to our development cycle, maybe a little bit, maybe early next year at the latest, and we'll figure out the pricing. We haven't really sorted that out yet.
Wow, it's going to be very interesting. As I'm pretty sure in the next year or so, there's going to be a lot of pro players. Like FaZe Clan's probably going to come do a lot of P2E games, and just having this type of caliber of players coming on, it's going to be interesting. But yeah, this kind of goes into, well, these next two questions kind of go hand in hand with this last question. But this is by Nat Key. I think it's a she. Revenue is a very important aspect for all projects to survive and maintain. What is the way to generate profit, revenue of token, and what is the income model?
Yeah, so I think there's kind of a similarity between the next question that I posted as well, but we have to build sustainable economies. right? And what's different about Web3 gaming is obviously that you can actually withdraw the tokens or whatever NFTs and actually monetize and convert into, real US dollars or whatever currency of your choice. And so we're going to be very methodical and cautious as we go through this process, just because of the additional risk factors of balancing the economy, of not if you don't balance the economy correctly. And so we look at it as three different types of players. There's the play to earners or earners. There's the people who play free to play, and then there are those who actually spend money and provide income into the game. And so for us, it's like you have to have that imbalance. Whether it's because ultimately, when you withdraw those tokens or NFTs and you sell them, you're withdrawing actual value from the ecosystem, and so that needs to be complemented by somebody that's playing the game and spending money in the game because they actually really enjoy the game and want to accelerate their progression or improve the feel and look of the character and so forth. And so from the game standpoint, like that's how we're balancing the three.
Yeah. Next question is by Sprite. So Sprite asks, where's Sprite? Blockchain games, it can be a bit risky. My question is, does a newbie like me need any special skills to play MetalCore? How does MetalCore bridge this to attract more traditional players and educate about the benefits of blockchain games?
Sure. So this is kind of a two-part question. As far as special skills needed to play MetalCore, no. I mean, Sam plays it just fine.
Wow, that hurts.
Yeah. So if you played any first-person shooter, you're going to be very familiar with either the keyboard use or controllers. And as far as like how do we bridge this, if you've played any first-person shooter or a third-person action game, you're going to feel very at home playing this title. The controls are very easy to understand and follow, and follow a lot of the standard keyboard controls or controller controls that you would be playing if it was a PC title, a console game. So you're gonna feel right at home with this. And then attracting and educating about the benefits of blockchain-based games. That's goes back to the marketing plan as far as like educating, and you're going to start seeing that more on our Twitter and our social channels, educating and sharing and evangelizing, so that the Web2 gamers understand that at its core, no pun intended, this is a fantastic game first and foremost, and everything else kind of flows from that. Once they get in, maybe they become kind of crypto curious and poke around and take a look at some of the assistance and little pop-ups that we'll have in game to explain to them the benefits of having a wallet. But a lot of it flows right from educating and getting them curious about our title and how we incorporate wallets and how we have it set up.
Great. Our next question is by Isaac. The question remains whether P2E is sustainable. What plans does the MetalCore team have for sustainability?
So I think I answered part of this in the previous question. Basically, balancing the economy and making sure that we have the right mix of earners and people who actually spend money in the game because they want to progress. Basically, premium players. The other part is we want to manage the inflation of tokens. Right? So in particular, the in-game currency. Our in-game currency is called FAB, F-A-B. And it hasn't been minted yet. It'll be minted later on in the year or so when there's going to be actual in-game utility of those tokens. So similar to the NFTs, we're not going to do a TGE until there's actual true in-game utility. And so how do we do that? How do we manage the inflation? So instead of being rewarded a set amount of FAB token each and every single time as an accomplishment, what we're doing is minting a certain number of tokens on a weekly basis based on prior token usage. So if last week 1 million tokens were burned or used in the ecosystem, and this week, we expect the game to grow 25%. For the upcoming week, we'll mint 1.25 million tokens and distribute those according to different buckets. Right, there's the weekly prizes, the daily prizes, and then the PVE specific quest-based rewards. And so that way we manage the number of tokens that are minted in any given period, and then it lines up with the growth rate of the community and the game itself. And so there are a number of things like that we're putting in order to make sure that the game is sustainable, that the token isn't, there isn't like runaway token inflation in terms of supply, etc. So that's our plan.
Great, awesome answer. Next question is by Lisa Nazali. She, or the PvP looks like a she, does not consider herself a professional gamer. In fact, I do not play regularly. However, MetalCore caught my attention and I'm interested in starting to play it. Do you think someone like me who's not a regular or professional can easily, I guess, understand this game or get used to this game?
Yes, absolutely, 100% yes. It is built from the ground up to be, easily understandable, easily controllable. And I think once you get in the game and see, for someone as nerdy as me, once you start seeing, like, for me, like, and Sam is going to start laughing, but there are times when you're controlling the mech or you're seeing another mech out in the world, and you'll find, I find myself at least, kind of just staring at it because it has that lumbering movement that you would think a real mech would have. And so it almost looks so realistic that, like, you kind of just stare at it, for lack of a better term. And but I think you will have absolutely no problems jumping in. It's designed with having very standardized, normal controls that we're all used to playing now. Whether it's utilizing the keyboard and WASD and a mouse, or a console controller setup. So I have no doubt that you'll be able to play this and be able to excel playing it, and you're gonna have fun, and that's the most important thing.
Nice. Our next question is by Wolfie. During the 2022, I got scammed a few times. Sorry to hear that. Rug pulls, soft pulls, etc. How can we, as investors, be sure that MetalCore will not be similar? Are your contracts public and somewhere to be seen?
Yeah, so here's a simple answer: is that we don't ask you to be investors. We want you to be buyers of in-game assets. So we are not selling NFTs and then asking you to wait 1 year, 2 years, 3 years for the game. We're actually going to put the game in your hands right away. And so I don't think you have to worry about any kind of rug pull or being scammed, because we're specifically selling you in-game assets. We're not asking you guys to be investors in the project. We have investors in the project, and those are, we raised $15 million from Delphi Digital, Bitcraft, Animoca Brands, and many of the other top funds out there, and also guilds, in large part so that we don't ask you to take that risk. And look at the in-game footage that we released so far. We'll be releasing more in-game footage soon. We're actually going to have guild leaders and investors play in the alpha pretty soon with us, so that there's absolute assurance, and that'll happen before the NFT sale. So there's no need to worry. Like, the game is already playable, and we took that risk off your hands and transferred it to the likes of the Delphi's and the Bitcraft, who are better positioned for that. And second part of that, the contracts will be public. We'll be making our NFT smart contracts available fairly soon. It's going through a second audit right now. We're actually having it audited by 2 different companies. And yeah, so I assure you there's no rug pulls. The game's already built. It's already largely built. So
yeah, and I think that's part of the cool thing about showing off footage of our game is it's actually there's proof of life, right? Like you're not waiting a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road for the promise of something. We're showing you stuff now, and we're setting it up so that when you purchase these NFTs, you've got immediate utility or as close to immediate utility as possible, and you'll be there along for this ride with us.
I think you're on mute again.
Sorry about that. So our next question is by Sohai Snorlax. How does the partnership between YGG SEA and MetalCore bring benefit toward YGG SEA community?
So I was just looking at Sohai's Discord handle, quite amazed. In his roles, he's got English, Chinese, Indonesian, Thai, Vietnamese, Malayu, Japanese, Spanish, Russian. That's probably the most languages I've ever seen. Now, I don't pretend to know all the world's languages out there. I've never heard of Malayu. So, amazing. Anyway, so how does YGG SEA and MetalCore, let's think about how do we cooperate, right? And we're open to suggestions on this. Obviously, the YGG SEA and community will get early access and first look at almost everything that we release. We'll have opportunities to provide input into the game, into the ecosystem, and that's kind of the primary ways. Other ways is that YGC is going to have land in the game, right? And so, as members of the YGC guild, you're going to be assured that there's going to be a piece of land there where you can generate earnings and rewards. So, those are the primary benefits that we think of. If you guys have other suggestions, let us know. For example, I think we have a call, if I'm not mistaken, it's this week or next week, where we're going through the guild system with you guys to get your feedback before we formalize and build it. So some examples of kind of the cooperation between the two.
Nice. Yeah, that's going to be great. A call between our gaming team and you guys. It's definitely going to be beneficial for all of us, right?
Absolutely. That's the name of the game, right? We got to all cooperate in Web3.
So the last question of the night is by Dave. Do you feel satisfied seeing the progress and achievements of the project so far when looking back on the day you started this project? Ooh, good question.
Good closing question. Go ahead, Justin.
Oh, there are very few times when you get to work on games where you work with a fantastic team, first and foremost, internally, the development team. You get to work with external partners like the guilds and the investment community, and you get to kind of see the project come to life, right? Like when I first started, it was a lot of work in progress art in the builds, and buildings were just blocks, and to where we're at now, it's so cool just to get in and walk around in the game even and see new areas, see new buildings, see new even for me, like geeking out over the AI of the enemies in the game, working with the developers so closely, it's awesome. and we still have a long way to go. And the game looks better each and every time we see it. I think the excitement from the team is incredibly palpable. Especially coming out of NFT NYC, where half the team got either incredibly sick with COVID or just incredibly sick. But being able to show off that trailer for the first time, getting our trailer shown at Times Square, having some amazing parties. Yeah, it's so cool. I've got 2 kids, and my third kid is metalcore. So, and I love them all equally. So it's awesome.
Yeah. So when we started this 10, 11 months ago, it was just an idea. And then we put it to paper and with a game design document. And then we started putting the team together and the fundraising. And now to see the game actually achieving the things that we had envisioned and actually being able to like touch and see and play it, like it is super exciting. I'm really proud of everything that we've achieved in a pretty short period of time. Um, it went from being in that kind of design stage, and then one day we're seeing all the artwork being released, and these are largely concept artwork, and it looks awesome. And you're just still wondering, like, what's it going to look like in the game? What is the game going to feel like? And then about like 8 to 10 weeks ago, we actually started to see a lot of the artwork in our weekly playtest, and it was holy shit. This is what it's all about, right? Like we are now. This baby is real now, right? And um, yeah, I couldn't be more excited, man. I really like it's beautiful game. The game design, the game loop is coming together, and so yeah, I mean I look back and it's sometimes like I can't believe it's been 10 months. And then sometimes it's like, wait, it's only been 10 months. It feels like it's been 4 years. So it's like, it's confusing. But at the same, ultimately, we're just really excited about what we've achieved so far and really look forward to the future, man.
Yeah, I mean, just I think being in crypto, it's just everything gets, like we're living dog years, right? In crypto.
No doubt.
But yeah, like those, I'm so glad that you guys offered us, type 10 whitelist spots. But usually I try to, squeeze for some more. Is there like any more
Yeah,
whitelist
yeah.
you guys can give?
Like this has been awesome. I love the questions you guys had,
Yeah.
and obviously you have such a vibrant community. So, why don't we add 10 more, man? Let's do a 10 whitelist spot for a raffle off.
Oh, nice. Yeah. All right. So, you guys at YGG SEA, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to raffle off 10 whitelist spots. We'll put it on our Discord announcements and Twitter. So, don't forget to follow us on Twitter if you're not, and listen to announcements. But yeah, do you guys want to say any last comments? Follow whatever your Twitter handles, your website, all
Yeah,
the
for sure.
social.
Join us on Play Metalcore on Twitter. That's where a lot of our announcements are at. Join us on our Discord. There's all of that is followable from the Twitter. There's a Linktree link there. Come join us. Interact with us. As Sam mentioned, I think we've got 6 or 7 AMAs planned this week, so there's going to be a ton of opportunities for whitelist. And I think we've got another 6 or 7 planned for next week, I think, too. It's going to be a busy 2 weeks for Sam and I. And we're on Twitter Spaces. We're always doing something to get you guys whitelisted. Without the fans, none of this is possible. So come join us, come interact with us. We've got a ton more stuff to be announced, ton more ways to interact with us that we haven't announced yet. Yeah, come and join us.
Yeah. So, one of the things I love about blockchain and Web3 is that it's global, right? It's global from day one. And as you know, I am ethnically Korean, but my family lived in Indonesia for some time. I personally lived in Vietnam for 3 years and go back as often as I can, probably like once a year or so. And so being like having this access to the Southeast Asian community with you guys, it's very important to me on a personal level, and it's just gonna be it'll be fun doing this together, right? It means a lot to me, and so I appreciate this opportunity to speak with the YGG Southeast Asia community, and look forward to working with you guys. As Justin mentioned, you just check out our website, which is scrolling at the bottom of the screen, or follow us on Twitter, which is Play Metalcore. My personal Twitter is Sam is Lucid, and yeah, we look forward to working together, guys. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys so much.
Yeah, so I would just like to thank you guys, from the YGC community. You guys gave such a great AMA today. All the questions that I asked, it's like everything. It's just made me more FOMO, and like I'm so excited for this game. Like I need a whitelist spot.
All over, man. It's only $50 to buy, and there may be some surprises in store.
For sure. Thank you guys for waking up so early. I know it's like 7 a.m. now. If you guys don't know, you guys are in the West Coast. Sam and Justin are in the West Coast. So yeah, thank you for waking up so early.
Oh well, that's the drawback of being global from day one for blockchain. But no, we're excited. Like these are small prices we pay in order to participate in this Web3 global economy.
Yeah, absolutely. For you guys, I'd get up at any time.
All right. Thank you so much. I'll see you guys later.
Thank you, guys.
So there you have it, another AMA by MetalCore. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was such an amazing experience to talk to, two guys from the MetalCore team. You got the CEO, you got the marketing director. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. We still have AMAs coming every week, and stay tuned for the raffles that are coming up later on this week. Later, guys.